Oh, there it goes. Okay, great.
There it goes.
You don't push different.
Could be more than a soda.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Madera County Arts Authority to order and welcome everyone. Thank you for coming today. Mr. Seibert just called and said he is en route, so he'll be here in about 10 minutes. Do we have any additions to the agenda today?
There are no additions.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to ask Mr. Villegas to lead us in the pledge today.
Praise the allegiance, terrible United States of America, vertical stand, one nation under God, indivisible.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a time for public comment. If there are any members of the public who wish to address the board on items under our jurisdiction but not appearing on the agenda, would you please step forward and state your name? Seeing none, we'll move on to the public session of the meeting. First item is 4A. We have consideration of the minutes of the meeting of March 22nd. They were sent to us in our packet. Is there any question or a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Any comments from the audience? Okay, I'll take it back here. All in favor?
Aye.
Did we get a second?
Yes.
Opposed?
Vegas, second.
Motion carries. Okay, now we have the treasurer's report. And we are going to ask Mr. Poitras to talk a little bit about each one of these, and then we will entertain one motion for the whole treasurer's report.
Fantastic. So in regards to the treasurer's report, you'll find it attached or in the packet a bank statement showing the balance as well as the income statement showing our revenue to date as well as expenses, and then our balance sheet, which shows the cash in the bank as well as accounts payable. We also have invoices from Lozano Smith, as well as an invoice from the County of Madera. So the invoice from Lozano Smith would be for legal services, and then the Madera County billing will be for the services for the months of January through March 2021. And at this point, are there any questions in regards to the treasurer's report items?
I see none up here.
Okay.
Do we have any comments from the members of the audience? Okay, then we'll take it back up here. There's no questions? Discussion? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the whole item 4B, 1, 2, and 3.
I so move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 4C, discussion and consideration of a logo for our Arts Authority, and maybe provide some direction to our artist and staff for next steps. Mr. Salinas.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Nick Salinas, District 3 Chief of Staff. Unfortunately, I'm not the phenomenal artist who put these logos together, but he happens to be here. His name is Ignacio Negrete. He works in our library department, and he'll go ahead and introduce and show you these logos and kind of walk you through them. So, Ignacio?
I've known Ignacio for a long time, so I had to cheer for him.
Hello.
Hello.
Nick contacted me about some potential logo work. I guess he's seen what I did with the library's logo, and I came up with these guys here. Inspiration, of course, is courthouse, and then with the art aspect, I used a paintbrush. Okay. Yeah, and so I have a few different, drew up a few different ones here. I mean, most of it is around that paintbrush over the courthouse there. The different acronyms and using actual name in there in ways it can be used. As I told Nick, it's somewhat of a work in progress. If we want to make some changes, add some more color or something, it's something that I can there. And those are the different ones I added for this presentation.
So it seems like there's a couple things going on here. One is the logo itself, and then the whether we want to have the whole Madera County Arts Authority or if we want to have MCAA, and then kind of how we want to cluster that.
Correct. Yeah. Like I was speaking with Nick, it's something that I came up with just kind of, okay, here's a starting point. Like I said, if we wanted to add more colors, I did have some pieces where I moved the, I guess like the dripping of the paintbrush, of the paint, to make it look like it had a dancer in there as well, or a musical note. Those were kind of things I messed with after I gave him these initial drafts.
Okay.
But up to you guys on how you guys would like to use that.
Okay, let's have everybody talk about their initial thoughts and what they're seeing here. And so who would like to begin?
Oh, I'll be happy to begin. Ignacio, did you get a copy from Nick of what I sent to him in response to his email showing us all of these?
I did. Busy time. I was just doing some editing, some video editing for story time over there as well.
Okay.
But busy time, some of that stuff kind of got washed down my email drain there.
Yeah, well, people over the years have accused me of saying too much and drifting out. So,
No worries.
No, I'm being somewhat facetious and putting myself down. But yeah, I'll make it short. I think it's a great start. I think that in a logo, we need to use all the words, not just the initials, because I doubt that there are very many people on the planet looking at MCAA will know what that stands for. But I think it needs to say Madera County Arts Authority, but I think it needs to be uppercase and lowercase because it's easier to read. My other comments were, I kind of got the idea that this was courthouse that's on Yosemite, but I say kinda because off to, as I look at it, to my left, there seems to be a multi-story building behind it, and I don't know what that is, and to me it detracts from it. Secondly, if it weren't for the description in Nick's email that the rest of this was a paintbrush, I wouldn't know what it was. So the gist of my response to Nick's email was twofold. One, I sincerely believe that this is a great start, and I think we need to build on it. Secondly, whatever we ultimately decide on, I think it needs to be obvious as to what it is. And even though there are only two items actually that are depicted here, the courthouse and the paintbrush, they in and of themselves are not obvious to me. And, you know, I've only worked in a courthouse for a third of my life, or half of my life, actually. So, and, but I got the attempt. I just was confused to what is off to the left with that other building, because I don't know what that is. And
Yeah, so if you look at our Madera County logo, I silhouetted that same building. So that's the same building silhouetted.
and that's still confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because of the courthouse, yeah, I guess the easiest way for me to put it is to, I was raised in a military family, and the motto sometimes was keep it simple, stupid. And if it needs, for somebody who's worked in courthouses for 35 years, needs to have it simplified even more, then perhaps it might be confusing to one or two other people out there. So if there's a desire to have the old courthouse, I think it just needs to be the view with a clock tower on top, and otherwise a two-story square building.
Okay.
As far as the silhouette, and I'm not saying we have to have the courthouse, I'm just saying if we do, but I'm still a little confused about the paintbrush. And without me going into the rest of what I said, as a potential idea for it, if you've got that email, maybe you can look at it later. Maybe there's something worth transposing or using, and maybe there's not.
Yeah.
I'm not tied to other suggestions that I had in the email.
No,
I do think this is a great start.
Well, thank you. I mean, for me, this is something that I've dabbled in lightly. I mean, I have done the libraries, but logo, but as an artist, I'm not too confident in my artistic ability, and this was something that was kind of done here and there. And I started with a whole different look to it before, kind of put in a paint palette, but that kind of looked weird with the silhouette as well. But I mean, thank you guys for your consideration.
I kind of like the palette. I
Yes.
don't think you need to have the courthouse.
No, and that was something that I was thinking how to tie in, because Nick was expressing how the downtown area was a big project area, and that was my way of tying in downtown, was with the courthouse there.
Well, I was thinking, I mean, I didn't recognize that as being a paintbrush.
Yeah, and I got criticized by my wife as well. She's like, "Oh, I think, is that a drop of water? Is it on fire? What is it?" And yeah, so I do, yeah.
I just thought, well, paint palette,
Mm-hmm.
really say art.
Okay, yeah, and I can go back to my drawing board. I had a few sketches there, and I can edit that and see what you guys want. Like I said, it was in my description. I said I wanted to make something simple yet impactful, and I thought with the courthouse and the paintbrush that was going to be simple enough and impactful enough to be like, okay, oh, there's the MCAA, there's Madera County Arts Authority. We know that symbol represents them.
Right. Other thoughts?
How about a passport?
That represents theater?
Theater, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I was kind of thinking of those ideas as well. In the logo itself, how it waves down, I had a folklorico dancer in there. I had a musical note and a film strip, and I was kind of thinking of ways to get theater or dance in there. And the dance part was, of course, the folklorico dancer. I was thinking more of our local culture and how that can play into there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is something that's in a draft mode. I can do a few more different types of logos. I also mentioned to Nick, maybe you guys can hold some sort of logo contest and get local artists involved as well. That way, I'm not the only one who's providing a logo for you guys. And getting community involved is always a good idea for me.
Other comments? Yeah, Artemio?
Okay. I've been thinking about how you're going to put those four words, Madera County Art Authority. I was thinking right now, can you make an arch?
Could make an arch. Yeah, so it could
Yeah,
be
Madera
along,
County,
along
and then
the
the
top.
bottom you can see it. You can put
Mhm.
Art Authority.
Mhm.
Be good, something like an arch and like this.
Okay.
But it's too early for that. Just still working on it, and you maybe present a different other logos. So
Yep.
whatever everybody agree, I go with that.
Okay.
That's my comment.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, getting input from you guys, this is great. Especially, I get to know what you guys are looking for, and how the other member shared, he wants to be able to see it and know, okay, this is the Madera County Arts Authority, and also, oh, that is the clock tower, that is a paintbrush. But yes, I'll take all that in and see what I can come up with from there.
Thank you.
You,
Right. Thank you for your great work. Appreciate it.
thank you.
What, before you leave, is there anybody in the audience that has a comment they want?
I was gonna.
Could you, you have to come up front?
Of course. Up here?
Over here.
Over there. Oh, back where he is?
Yeah. He'll stand close.
Am I allowed to take my mask off? What's the rule?
Yes.
So, I'm Jim. I'm with the Madera County Arts Council, MCAC. One thing I just wanted to mention is that as a creative person myself, and having worked with organizations to build logos, as I know some of you have, it's really hard to create a logo via committee. So, just wanted to give you some kudos there, because it's hard, because everybody will have an opinion, and as far as what they want it to see or what they think it should be, and I just wanted to give you some shout out for taking the time to do this, and moving us in a place where we can possibly go to come up with something that everybody likes. So that was really my comment.
Jim, you bring up a point that we want to make sure that we don't mix up Arts Council with Arts Authority here.
Yeah, I think I think it's definitely going to be a thing. We've already had some confusion at the Arts Council with checks that have arrived for the Madera County Arts Authority and things, and even money's getting deposited at Citizens Business Bank in our account that should have been for the Arts Authority. So there is some confusion there on a number of different levels. So yeah, and everybody's got thoughts about it. And for me, an Arts Authority should be fun and colorful and maybe a little bit crazy. So that's just one person's opinion about what a logo might be, rather than something that is more county corporate serious. But I think you guys did a great job on this one, by the way, the one that's behind you. I think it turned out great. I know you probably spent $1 gazillion on it. Pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Jim, I've got a question for
Yes,
you.
sir.
What did you do with the Arts Authority money you received?
Oh, we kept it. Yeah. Yeah.
Please, let's correct that.
I'm teasing. That's
This
a
is
joke.
Public meeting of a governmental agency.
I'm joking. We, it went into our account, and we noticed it, and we told them, and they realized their error and put it in the right account.
Thank you.
I just thought I'd set you up for
Well,
yourself.
you knew I was going to say. You know I was going to say it with that.
Thank you for clarifying.
I just let you know that when they had their old manager at Citizens, things like this didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey.
the old manager, you should know the answer to
I
that.
understand that from the school district. I'm glad to hear that we're thinking more than the visual arts, that we're thinking more than a palette, or we're going to add to the brush. Because we want to emphasize that there's going to be singing and dancing and theater as part of what we're doing. And we're also community building in this area.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'd hate to waste ink on the courthouse, no offense, when, we have other symbols we could probably use in arts.
Okay. Yeah, and that was one reason why I was, or confusion with the Arts Council was, well, I was trying to stay away from the palette because they do use a brush and palette on their logo. So I was trying to stay away from that palette just
Yeah.
for that reason.
Right. Yeah. So there might be other ways you can put, like Artemio suggesting, Madera County Arts Authority and kind of even like they did with the county one, put in some of the themes of the county in the middle.
Yes. Okay.
Well, good. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for being brave.
Thank you.
Notice you had no competition in bringing ideas forward. Thank you. Keep it up.
Yeah, it does take a lot of courage because it's as somebody pointed out, everybody's going to have an opinion. I think it was Jim, as far as what's good and what's not, and the first, brush, no pun intended, it's going to be, there's going to be pounded on and so forth. So, what courage! That was great. Notice I had no opinion.
Oh, we artsy people.
Yeah.
We have no opinion. Okay, great. Thank you. Item 4D is an ad hoc committee report. We have an update regarding implementation of the feasibility plan. Am I going to speak to this? Okay. We have met with our attorney and kind of clarified what the ad hoc committee is. And so that's in progress, and I'm going to talk about that under item number 2. I wanted to, can you put up the slide that includes the feasibility plan proposal, 4 steps? That one. Can you, is it possible for you to blow up the top part? I mean, just make it so the top part's bigger? Or can everybody see that? Yeah, like that maybe. Good. Okay, we had some confusion last time about phases of work and the courthouse park, Yosemite Avenue versus the downtown part itself. And so I wanted to just make sure we're all understanding what we're doing with an ad hoc committee in phase 1. And that is, we're looking at policy gaps in the city and the county general plans, and to try to determine if there's any spots where we could firm up our direction and our goals using policies and municipal codes for that. Our group needs to create an art master plan, and we can have the ad hoc committee work on that, which kind of says what we're trying to do overall in our community. And then a big part of what we have to be doing is developing community partnerships to help us manage things, community event coordination, and then building affiliations and partnerships. The reason why I want to emphasize this one is that our ad hoc committee, Mr. Poitras and I, are looking for people that we can add who are affiliated with county and city in various businesses and organizations who can help us develop ideas and develop our plans so that we build strength and involvement. Our consultant asked us to start with something small scale in the way of public art to get ourselves started. We've not worked together before, and so this is an attempt for all of us to figure out how the city, the county, the school district, Arts Council can all actually work to completion of a project. So we'll probably start with something small, but very public as our first step. We will also consider no art, non-art activities. You can have food trucks on Friday night. They don't have to be drawing pictures. And they can be selling food, but it's a community gathering, and then other things can spin off of that. You can have activities in the park that are non-art activities, but and we do already have some of those, so that's good. So anyway, and then our goal is to strengthen current community events and foster more community events. So we've got a lot more going on downtown. Okay, so having said that, we're just in the initial phases now of having that committee meet. The structure is that Mr. Poitras and I, as the ad hoc committee of the board, we're the two board members, we will be inviting in other people. We'll be sitting in a corner doing work on these areas and bringing it back to the board for review. So as we go along, you'll be getting monthly meeting reports about how our committee is doing, where we might need some help from your agency, and if we bring more people in to be involved, we'll be adding them to our list so you know what's happening in phase one. Okay? Any questions about kind of where we're starting off? The messy one to start with, but it's the one where we begin to build community, so it's important. Okay, so that's where we are with our feasibility plan. At the last meeting, Marianne C. was here with the county talking about Courthouse Park, and that's going to be in phase 2, but some things are happening already, and so we'll have another item on the agenda today that it's going to talk about where we are with being ready to plan for the park. But our goal with this first ad hoc committee is merely to get ourselves started on these activities in phase 1. Any questions, comments? Okay, then item number 2 is the volunteer support that we need to get ourselves started. At the last meeting, we asked for names of people who would be helpful in from each of the agencies. Sorry, I've got my notes. Hold on, one second.
Nick is putting on his cape to try.
Madam Chair, I have the information here in front of me, if that would
Okay.
help.
There it is. Okay, thank you. And then when I printed it, it came out just, okay. Thank you, got it? Got it?
Sure. Nick Salinas, District 3 Chief of Staff. So as you said, the board is designating individuals for each of these seats. So just to recap those, Chair O'Kane has selected Jim Coor. Director Poitras has selected Mr. Chris Miller with Layton's Jewelers. Director William has provided the name of Terry Dolph, and with an alternate of Chris Mariscotti. Director Seibert has designated Joetta Fleek, and Director Villegas is designees yet to be appointed. Something just to put out there before the board is, if you'd like, with the permission of Mr. Villegas, an option would be to have Mr. Mariscotti as an alternate, move from that position under Director Villegas's appointee seat. So from what we understand, and Director Whelan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm imagining that Chris is looking forward to working with us and is open to serving on this designee position.
Yes. Having said that, when I discussed with him the other day that there might be just one person serving through me, and Terry Dolph was the first person who said yes, but I thought that perhaps he, Terry, and Chris Mariscotti could alternate with each other. That's with the understanding that both of those gentlemen are still working, and they might have to trade off as a tag team anyway. So how the mechanics works out, I don't think either of those two gentlemen care. They're willing to serve, but the reality of the fact that they're still employed and working, they creep into it from time to time. Well,
Great. So I don't, and Madam County Counsel, I don't believe we need a motion, but we would just need a collective thumbs up from the group if that would be okay to move Mr. Mariscotti under your designee, Mr. Villegas.
Whatever you guys decide, that's go for it.
so if you've got somebody else,
Have any-
I'm sure everybody else would be okay with that too.
Buddy, coin at this point. So whatever you guys decide.
Okay, so is that a consensus from the board to move Mr. Mariscotti? Okay.
So we're going to set up our first ad hoc committee meeting for this Thursday at 4 o'clock. And we're going to attempt to get a hold of the people on this list that have been mentioned to see how many we're going to be able to get at that time. And I have all of their emails, so I'll be able to get a hold of them right away. And then I know that we're going to have to work with, especially with Terry and Chris Miller, because they have jobs that are going to be, so we might have to work on what time we meet. But Mr. Poitras and I will get started this week and see how we can begin to bring everyone.
Madam Clerk, is anyone attending the meeting online? I know Chris Miller said he'd try to join in. Okay, just to put something out there, after talking with Chris and offering this designee position, he mentioned that his building, he's proposing to put some sort of mural on the side of his building, which would really complement the other mural just across the alleyway. So perhaps that's some low-hanging fruit that our ad hoc committee will start working on.
Well, in fact, it's in progress. I mean, he's doing it on his own.
He's actively looking for an artist to come out and do it, and just in my mind, I was imagining utilizing that in whichever MCA logo we go forward with, using that on each of our pieces throughout town so it can connect and show the public what this authority is really putting together.
Right. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's where we are with ad hoc, phase one, only getting somebody to do some work. Anything else on this item? Okay, now, item.
Out to the public, Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there other comments from the public? Input from the public? Okay. Thank you very much. Anything else from here? Okay, then we'll move on to item 4E, which is discussion and consideration to appoint a board member to participate in the Madera County Courthouse Park Review and Selection Committee to assist with the review and selection of a firm to design courthouse park improvements. And Stay is here, Pete is here to clarify and to update us and to invite us to participate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, I'm happy to be back. As you likely recall, my colleagues Jorge Mendoza and Tristan Champ and I were here at your last meeting to give you an update of where the county is on its steps to renovate Courthouse Park, and then also to introduce the idea that we are going to come back and request specifically for some participation in on our design and selection committee. So with that, since we were here last, we did issue the RFP. We're very pleased to tell you that we got 5 strong proposals. The due date was last Friday, and we've received 5. And what our specific ask today is for you to elect 1 member of your body to serve along with 2 county staff. 1 member from the Historical Society, as was requested in this this very space, and also 1 member of the Park Restoration Committee, making up a 5-member committee to review each of the proposals. We are on a little bit of a time schedule, so I ask that you, as you're considering which member might serve, part of your discussion could entail that, I think in your board letter it said we'd like to have your review and selections by the end of this week, but after seeing the number and the thoroughness of the proposals, we've moved that back to Friday, May the 7th. So it would be almost 2 full weeks. Staff is prepared to provide each committee member with the RFP, the 5 proposals, and then a very concise list of directions and criteria for scoring. We can do one of two things. We can meet individually with committee members to make sure that what we're asking is clear. We can do that electronically. We can meet as a group if we have enough space, but we'd like to get that done here in the next couple of days. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you have about what we're asking. We would have the materials to the committee member by the end of business day tomorrow. And we would ask that through coaching from our team, that those scoring sheets be delivered back to staff by the close of business on Friday, May the 7th. With that, either Jorge, Tristan, or I can take any questions that you may have.
Okay, we're considering having, we've been considered to have a slot on the committee. Do we have questions among our board? Thoughts? Yeah, well, when it's,
My appointee is Shannon Schwartz.
Pardon me?
My appointee, Madera Unified, is Shannon Schwartz.
let me back up for you.
Please.
If the board is willing to entertain having a staff member from the school district who is in charge of their whole facilities and grounds and everything department, he does this kind of proposal reading on a regular basis as part of his work. If the board is willing to consider having him as our representative, then I think he'd be a fine candidate.
Don't have several.
No, just one for this.
Just one?
Just one for this.
If I may, certainly it's whatever the council says is appropriate. We have county staff who are immersed in this type of work, who are part of the selection committee, and we are reaching out to our stakeholders to get that that other lens.
Okay,
So we are going to have technical eyes on this.
okay.
One of you may see something we don't see because we're focused on the technical aspects. Again, I defer to your judgment, and we'll move forward.
I'd like to nominate Chuck Whelan to be the representative for the Arts Authority.
Is there a second for that?
I thought we were going to have part of the selection committee. I thought we were supposed to appoint people to the selection committee.
No, there's two, there's going to be 5 people. There's going to be 2 county staff and 1 member from the Arts Authority, the Courthouse Park Restoration Committee, and the Historical Society. So that makes up the 5.
In fairness to you, sir, that is what I said at our last meeting. And I think that was a matter of Dr. O'Kane and I thinking we were talking about the same things and we weren't. And then I used the word ad hoc, and I think I almost set the building on fire. But to clearly go back, I am taking a step back. We did say 2 members, and then it was going to be 2 members of this group and 2 members of that group, and pretty soon we had 9 people reviewing it. And after having given it consideration, we did land on 1 person per stakeholder group of those 3, plus 2 county staff for a total of 5. Sorry for the confusion, but you're right, Mr. Seibert.
We all remember it was a little confusing at the last meeting. Between phase 1, phase 2, what we're doing with the park at the immediate versus long haul. Now we'll be at a point in the near future where we'll be looking at another ad hoc committee that's going to be dealing with park and downtown. But that's not where we are right now. Right now, we're just trying to get the design team chosen.
That's correct.
Okay. So there's a motion on the floor to appoint Mr. Wieland as our representative. There is a second for that.
Second.
Artemio has seconded that. Okay. Other discussion, any comments from the audience? Questions? Okay, let me bring it back to the board. Any other questions, comments from the board?
Well, not that anybody's asked, but I'm willing to serve. I've done this a number of times over the years, so I'm familiar with the process in general, not necessarily specifically with this one. I'm willing to serve.
I
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Seibert?
Well, you know, Senator Swartz, that's what he does. We're always going through this. He knows a lot of these contracts.
Ray, I'm sorry, but can you lean forward and speak into your mic so we can hear you?
I will. I'm done.
Okay.
So in other words, whatever he said is not on the record.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Wieland as our representative to the selection committee for the design team. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. And you'll get a hold of Mr. Wieland?
Thank you for your time. We will be in contact with you tomorrow and transmit a lot of documents to you.
Great.
So we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then will you follow up with us next month to let us know who it is and what that, as that process goes forward? Or are we done now?
The county intends on being good partners with the authority moving forward through the process and into programming phases down the road. That said, my last day is May 21st, and so somebody from the county will surely be keeping you abreast of where we are in the process. I would suspect by your next meeting that we'll have a firm selected and we will be entering the negotiation phase with them
Oh, okay,
for a contract,
okay,
hopefully to be awarded around July.
okay, great, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for the service you've provided to the city and county.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
And anytime you want to come back and volunteer, we have lots of opportunities here. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to move on to item 4F, which is discussion and consideration of approval to replace the Madera County Arts Authority annual special audit with an audit covering a 2-year period. At the last meeting, the board requested that Mr. Poitras, our attorney, look into whether there could be a bylaw change or a rule change that would allow us to not have to do the audit every year. So would you let us know what you found?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The good news is you don't have to make any amendments. The language is written to follow the government code and allows for flexibility for this board only upon a unanimous vote to create an audit every 2 years and not every year. And so there really requires no amendment of your bylaws or the actual JPA agreement, all of which are attached to this item along with the government code section that governs audits for JPAs. So if you want to do every 2 years, what I understand about audits, and I know that there are people in the room that understand them more than me, aside from the fact that they cost money, so having it every 2 years versus every 1 year will be more cost effective for you. But then also, I know that when auditors create audits, they don't audit every single detail, they audit sections of things. And so I wouldn't be saying that it's a negative to go every 2 years because you're not then doing 2 years worth of every transaction audit. They audit, certain sections. And so that I'm happy to answer any other questions, but it's completely lawful to do it every 2 years and would need a required unanimous approval. And then somehow I would note the bylaws or the JPA. I'm trying to think through that to kind of create a record because we know our clerk does that and keeps all of your records. So that's one, but I was thinking of a secondary way to do that, but that's my own issue. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Okay, anybody in the audience wish to comment on the issue of an audit every year versus every? Okay, then I'll bring it back up to the board. Apparently, we need a unanimous vote.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Have a motion?
A second.
And Mr. Wieland has seconded it. Any other discussion about this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Unanimous. Great. Member and staff reports. Hearing none? Okay, then this meeting is adjourned, and our next meeting will be the fourth Monday of May. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Fourth Monday of May, I won't be.
You will not be here.
Yeah, I won't be here. Maybe in Costa Rica.
Okay.
Our business down there. Little there is.
What little there is left.
Yeah, they don't know hardly anybody. Countries are all shut down.
Costa Rica's all shut down now?
Well, most of these countries